All right, welcome to Wiseguys Video Diary, episode 6. I was called out by my good friend Matt Stark about losing focus or being lazy. Now here's what's going on. So after last episode, writing quite a lot. I wanted to finish the Gazetteer. Got that done. Was also a little bit busy with editing. I think I was, editing the demo kit. Got some feedback from playtesters, some proofreading, some more editing by someone who played. He probably doesn't want to be named, but he knows who he is, and I really appreciate it. Really good feedback, helpful feedback, and it made the text better. So the demo kit right now is in the layout stage. Mornay's been working on that. Just a little hiccup. Computer died, needs a new power supply, so hopefully by the weekend he can resume to work on that. He had about 15 or so pages done on it. We're also waiting one more illustration for that, and he's got to do a couple more too while he wants to Mornay wants to do a couple more illustrations as well. Looking good. Looking forward to it. Hopefully, maybe, hoping May for sure. I don't anticipate any further delays with that. But as for the main text, the process, I sort of hit a bump in the road. Working on this almost nonstop for a year. There was maybe a 2 weeks period in there that I didn't work on it. That's when we went to Con on the Cob last year in November. But since then, it's been a daily work on this. And it's draining, mentally draining for me anyway. Obviously, I saw a tweet not long ago that someone says that, writing by yourself is easy. It's working with others that's difficult. Back to differ. I strongly disagree. I think it's a lot more fun anyway to work group, cooperative. Granted you sort of get along, but that's another story. So yeah, it's been draining, and it was a little bit of feedback that came out of nowhere about Wiseguys from a good friend of mine that, I don't know, I guess it was just a drop that made everything go over, where I was burnt out. I had to take the weekend off, but as I mentioned before, once you take time off, sometimes just a day or two, it's hard to get back to it. And now we're Wednesday, and I need to get back to it, even though I still feel a bit burnt out with it. I guess there's that phase where you start doubting yourself a little bit. Is it gonna be good? Is it going to work? Guess it's part of the ups and downs, right? You're surrounded by such quality content all the time, and with Wiseguys, it isn't your typical Savage World setting, so you start doubting, is it really good for that? But I'll get past it. I have to, and I want to. So yeah, like I said, I got the Gazetteer done. Right now I've been working on the Don's Corner. I call that like the GM section. where I give advice on how to run Wiseguys, alternate campaign frames that you can go with using the toolkit. What else? Oh yeah, great news, great contribution. So I hired a freelancer, a writer, to help me with primers for other organized crime. The thing is, well, I still continue to do a lot of research, but the time I would have put in researching all these crime syndicate would have just didn't want to, because I still need to do some more research, especially on procedures, law enforcement procedures, because a big themes for Wiseguys is being chased by the law. So I want some credible. Can always use, movie logic and all that logic, but I think it helps with the research. At least so far, it has helped me with organized crime, with the American mafia. So yeah, really good writer, passionate guy, was believed in my project since the beginning. He's been chomping at the bits to get involved. He had sent me a write-up on the Sicilian mafia that was very good, and that's when and he mentioned also that he always wanted to write a source book on the various organized crime. So all right, well, you know your stuff. Let's see what you can do. We made a deal, and so he delivered on Yakuza, Chinese Triad, Harley Davidson, well, the Hells Angels, also Bratva, Russian mob. What else did he get? Also, but there's like 6 in total. You got Sicilian Mafia, Hells Angels, Bratva, Yakuza, Triad, and the other one is, drug cartels, both Mexican and Colombian. By primer, I don't mean like a page. Got a solid 10 pages on average for each. So each of them has the history, origins, how that crime syndicate started, their organization, so the ranks and all that, their operations, so what kind of criminal activity they're involved in, and how they do business, and then the lingo, so they use to call certain things. And then I'm going to add stat blocks, the profiles for the various NPCs. So, for the cartels, you're gonna have the sicarios, the spies, capos, which are the bosses over there, and all that. So we're looking at somewhere between 5 to a dozen for each. I've already started on some of them, but they're all going to be in there, so that's probably going to be a good 40-50 stat blocks just for that. Then I've got around 20 something generic ones that I've got so far, and I'm probably going to add another 20-30, so you're looking at 100 stat blocks for the final book. So yeah, that's what I've been writing right now. Next phase of testing, I want to test out, which isn't going to be part of the main book, but I've got some adventure cards ideas in there. So I need to make them. Um, to test that out. I've got still got quite a bit. I decided to go along with a plot point campaign too. I finally found a good idea, and this is also going to help the focus of the game. I like to believe, and I heard that from a designer, Ross Watson, that when you design an RPG, you should always keep in mind what do the players do, the player characters do in your setting. For Wiseguys, well, it's prosper as a criminal, which, I mean, you could argue that it lacks focus a little bit. It sounds like a big sandbox, and interestingly enough, I've been reading Blades in the Dark, all right, which you play scoundrels and pull scores. So reading this is a game where it's really a sandbox. There's no hook from the GM, or no implicit ones anyway. It's basically, all right, you guys are, you know, while you decide, are you assassins, are you drug dealers, are you mercenaries, whatever, and then you do your thing. So the GM just says, all right, what do you do? All right, we're gonna go steal from this place. So it's really very sandbox, and this was basically the initial idea I had with Wiseguys, until I remember that there should be a focus. What do you do? So the plot point campaign will, because I don't have mechanics per se to determine what how you become more prosperous and all that. It's basically, it depends on the edges you take. But I don't want any bookkeeping for this type of thing, in the sense that, all right, you've done this thing, you've got that much money, that means you're this high. Instead, because it's Savage Worlds, I think the best way to represent that is through a plot point campaign, where it will take you to the beginning of your career, of course, and then all the way to the top by the time you're done with it. So, yeah, I've got a good idea right now. I haven't written anything about it, but that's usually how it works for me designing, creating. It always starts with hashing it out in my head. Yeah, and then putting it on paper. So I think I got some pretty good. Still, I already had like the notes. I still keep notes, and it was already in there. It just needs so yeah, that's, I'm hoping to finish this in 3 months, hopefully. That would be ideal. A August or September launch for the Kickstarter would be ideal, and it's possible. But yeah, I just need to get back into it. So in case, well, that's it, Matt. That's what's going on, and that's why I've been silent. Um, didn't feel like I had anything all that important to say at the time, so I didn't say it. I know I promised to talk about edges and hindrances, and seeing as we're approaching the 15 minutes mark here, I think I'll keep that for next. Maybe over the weekend. Maybe it's going to be a 2-for-1 special for this week. Until then, well, thanks for listening. The few of you who do. See you later.